The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world to take back control of our personal choices, health, and freedom. I'm Nico Haan.
And I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater, folks, like 75 degrees, going up into like the low 80s, and cool at night still, below 70. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, this is our beautiful spring.
That's right. Please subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. I have a new one that came out last week while we were off the air, and order our new Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It's coming off the shelves really quickly, so, get it while you can. We just put a big order in, too, so. And you can use your Tiger dollars on that, and of course you can do this all on the TFNN website at TFNN.
Thank you, Tom, for keeping all the tigers healthy.
Yes.
Tiger dollars,
no doubt about it.
Get the edge on nutrition. That's awesome.
And we're taking your phone calls, folks. It's 877-927-6648. Give us a buzz. Over the last week, and of course we were off for Good Friday, so it seems like, geez, where have we been? But we are here now, so I'm anxious to get back too. I was first listening to a documentary from Britain, and it was talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and were these terms always used, and when did it start? So I really started digging into, what were meals for the average person throughout different parts of history.
And it really is amazing how different parts of the country have done different things.
Yeah, different societies or different social groups, different countries, ethnic groups, all have their own little take on it. But of course, I want to really go back farther even than that. So most of the time, when you're talking about tribal types of things, there usually was one large meal after the hunt.
It was the feast.
It was the feast. And it was a very happy occasion. Not only was it time for everybody to get together and, communicate and eat and everything, but there was also dancing, singing, music, always, that surrounded it. It was a big deal.
Right.
And it's a spiritual thing, too, I think.
Well, yeah, because so much of it did involve animal foods, but the traditional people that you're talking of used all of the pieces of the animal. They used the bones for bone soup. They used the skins for housing or for clothing.
Yeah.
So there was a very a feeling of gratitude, I think, that overwhelmed both the feasting and the time around it. So not so much today.
Mainly one large meal was pretty common, maybe a snack here or there as you were going through the bush or something like that. But then when we talk about civilization coming in, which we think immediately of agriculture, because that's what creates cities and towns and things around the agriculture. Otherwise, you're just living in a tribe and wherever you're.
Well, and the
food
creation of agriculture actually created a situation where there was time to eat more meals. You weren't out, 50 miles away.
Well, too, but it also created the larger families, because instead of having just one child, you needed more child, because all of a sudden you were in the fields for long periods of time, from 8 in the morning maybe till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It was actually the church that really started the term like breakfast, to break the fast, to actually go to Mass first. And it was the Catholic Church in the Church of England back in the mid-1600s, maybe early 1600s, that really said this is the way you have to eat. And you cannot eat until Mass is done, and that might be 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning.
And that's the key point, and that's what we're learning now as I'm kind of researching, what it takes to be a good fat burner. In some of the new research that's coming out, like Dr. Marshall's biofield diet. It's really recommended if you are not at your ideal weight, to do a fast in the morning. Your first meal becomes at noon.
Yeah.
Kind of the mix between brunch. It says here that brunch is a kind of a conglomeration of breakfast and luncheon.
Yeah, in fact, that part of the history was interesting because that happened to the rich folks in England, and typically they partied on Saturday night. So they would sleep in more on Sundays, and of course, you can't have breakfast at 8 o'clock anymore. So they kind of combined the two meals, and they wanted things set up for them. So it was always a lavish things where you go to these big atrium hotels now. They have that set up, So it's funny how these things come from different sources, but the dinner really was a mid-afternoon thing. Especially in Americas, maybe 3 in the afternoon until we had to work harder and harder and harder, and we kept pushing the meals back.
Right, and also just the idea that everything kind of shut down earlier.
Yeah.
You think about it, some latitudes, it's dark by 4 o'clock, so they're starting to come in, come home, come from the fields, come from their workday, and eat a little earlier.
And, so I'm digging into this, and what I really found interesting, too, was what they ate. And typically, most of the things that are mentioned are animal foods. Very surprising. There might be some dairy in there, but mostly you're talking about, eating birds and game and, lavish things. In fact, they had a thing down here, if I can find it, where one of the meals of this big, here it is. Food for King Richard II, 1387 dinner. These are the ingredients. Included 14 salted oxen, 84 pounds of salted venison, 12 boars, including the heads, 120 sheep heads, 400 rabbits, 50 swans, 150 castrated roosters, 1,200 pigeons, 210 geese, 11,000 eggs, and 12 gallons of cream.
Wow.
I don't see any vegetables or anything like that in there.
Yeah.
And when you go through all these different countries, too, pretty much they're mentioning the different types of meats.
What somebody would say after reading that, 1387, Richard II's meal, well, what was happening in the 1300s? The Black Plague, everybody got sick. Maybe they weren't eating enough vegetables.
That's good. Could be, certainly, But they don't mention the vegetables much. They mention it as in passing more than anything else.
Yeah.
And there was a really good article here. See if I can find this. It was called The Food Timeline, and foodtimeline.org. And this really gives you a whole history of meals in different countries, different time settings.
Yeah, that goes
and
over
where
the
words.
Greek,
So if you're interested
British.
in that, then I might put a link of
I like
this.
that. I think that should go in the newsletter. That kind of gives you an idea of where we
I
got
can't put
some
the
of
whole
these.
article, but I'll put a link to the articles in there. And it really goes through everything from bake sales to desserts, what they call plowman's lunches, the second breakfast, like the in the Middle Earth, the hobbits always
Right.
had to have first breakfast, then second breakfast. Yes, really cool.
Yeah, but that's all very interesting, too.
Where Cinco de Mayo came from, or where Mother's Day came from, Independence Day, Passover, Easter, Valentine's Day, Super Bowl things. All these holidays came really for presenting some kind of meal, either for a corporation trying to sell this stuff, or just mainly from a group like maybe the Cattlemen's Association or things like this. It's kind of like the cards for these holidays, or
Or
who
like
made
the
cards.
certain fish days with the church to sort
Yeah.
of support the,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of ways that we've developed all of these traditions and different cultural things. And the question is, what's right today?
Well, what's right is what's right for you. We are more into working much harder and longer, so we have to space our meals in between our work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way we've done it. I have foregone lunch most of the time. I eat the breakfast and I eat the dinner. But I do like the idea a lot of times of just not having anything in the morning, and then just eating lunch and maybe dinner, or maybe just dinner.
That kind of works great for me.
Yeah.
I prefer to use my mornings as a period of kind of fasting, if I am having coffee or if I am having herbal teas. But I use it as a period of rehydration and cleansing, because I've already
so
had
detoxing in a way.
Yeah, so maybe if I finished all my eating at 8 o'clock, by 8 o'clock in the morning, that's given me a 12-hour fast. Why not add a couple more hours to it, use it as a rehydration and elimination period? And so I had someone that I kind of watched say that breakfast actually meant to break fast and get going. Just get going.
Yeah, no, it's the opposite.
But I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's to break the fasting of not eating.
Right.
But you can look at it that way, too.
Right.
And the question is, when was breakfast actually eaten? And as we see, in some of these cultures, they actually ate it more at the noon hour.
Yeah.
So maybe the whole timeline, maybe the actual breakfast was not at sunrise. Maybe it was a little bit later in the day.
Yeah.
And
Well, what I found really interesting is my own attitude about the thing is that no longer am I a slave to it, that I have to eat now and then. I don't have to have 3, 4, or 5 meals like I used to have. I can skip meals. It doesn't bother me anymore. So I feel real liberated reading this and saying, well, these people only eat one day. And I was talking to Tom O'Brien this morning while he was exercising at my place, and he says, that kind of makes sense.
Well, I think that actually what the research is showing right now, a lot of people that I'm watching that are doing more HIIT type training, that exercising on a fasted body produces the ability for your body to turn to your fat stores.
Yes.
And for those of us that are
Helps you
struggling
switch
with
over.
it not being at ideal weight, this works better. Dr. Marshall will be releasing his book sometime later in this summer, and what we're doing with Premier Research and those of us that are QRA practitioners is we're helping people to adopt the biofield diet, which is based on the energetics of how because the energetic body is what controls the physical body.
Sure.
So it's not about focusing, treating, addressing the physical body. You address the energetic body, and then everything falls into place. And if you're at your ideal weight, then go ahead and have your breakfast. But your body does not respond well to high glycemic fruits until after 3 o'clock. And I want to make this point because it makes sort of sense on what people do. So, for example, if you want to have a smoothie where you're adding fruit, see, a lot of people have smoothies, but they really become a big sugar bomb. They add a lot of
no doubt about it.
a lot of fruits, or even worse, juicing. Can you imagine you're getting 12 oranges?
Yeah, and you don't have the fiber in there to slow it down.
And you don't have the fiber. So I'm a big fan of having the whole food. But prior to 3 o'clock, we are at maximum insulin resistance, meaning that we are not sensitive to insulin. Our blood sugar levels rise, and as you know, what goes on in America? The American diet starts with cereal and grains and bagels and chips and this kind of a thing. So we're starting our day out with this high sugar diet, and the body never really fully recovers its insulin sensitivity. In contrast, after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we are at maximum insulin sensitivity. It means our body responds best to insulin and is able to shuffle sugars around. So if you do decide to accidentally eat a pancake or a cookie, then that would be the time to do it after 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
If you are going to splurge and you are in a situation where you could have a dessert, the occasional dessert, then obviously after 3 o'clock is a good time to plan to have your desserts or your fruit smoothie.
And I generally have my carbs after 3 o'clock.
Well, I also remember when we were talking, one of my favorite things is honey and pollen. We talked about this.
Yes.
It's a real liver tonic. We'll talk about that one day in one of the shows. But you used to do it before you go to sleep. Again, you're able to handle that.
Yep.
We got to take a break, folks.
Yep. The number here is 877-927-6648. We'll talk a little bit about the newsletter and Primal Edge, and give us a call, folks.
Take your questions.
Yep.
See you when we get back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And welcome back. Article came across our little teleprompter thing. Drinking raw eggs, is it healthy?
Yeah, in fact, Ethan asked me about raw eggs. Were they healthy? And
Ethan, we're going to pick up next time and talk about some of the other subject matter that you sent us. But we'll cover this today. You know.
Well, I've eaten raw eggs.
I'm going to tell you, there's a couple pros and cons to eating raw eggs, and one of the things that I think is really important for people to understand is the fat-soluble nutrition that's in the yolk. What I really hate to see is where people throw away the yolk, and they think that that they should just eat egg whites because they still have that fat phobia or cholesterol issue. Right. Hopefully you all have been watching long enough to know that that is not the case. That is not the case, and that is not an important thing to do. However, there are some things we need to be aware of, and as many of you know, we recommend free-range eggs that are in their wild environment, eating the bugs that they're supposed to eat. When you see a lot of eggs in the grocery store, they tout that they're vegetarian fed, and folks, chickens are not vegetarians. They're omnivores. They eat bugs and a few things that are down for them to eat. But when you have, there's the proper handling and getting them from a good source is important. There are some studies that show that the nutrients are more available when they're cooked, but we want to be mindful of the egg yolk not being cooked or heated too high of heat.
In fact, the way I understand it, Paige, is that the yolk is easily digested by us. The more raw, the easier it is, where the protein is harder to digest when it's raw, and when it's cooked, it's easier to digest.
Think of the yolk as the fat. Well, there actually is some protein in both. But you're exactly right. An over easy or slightly poached egg at a low heat and let the white cook. But there is a glycoprotein in egg whites called avidin, which inhibits our absorption of the protein in the egg whites. It also can create a biotin deficiency, which is why we all should be taking the Primal Edge, so we know that we get our full complement of the water-soluble B vitamins, and we don't have to worry about that.
That's true.
But I do want to suggest that don't throw away your yolks. What I've done sometimes, particularly when I'm doing some different leaning out strategies, I can't stand to throw away an oak. I just look at it and I think it's a powerhouse. So put it in your smoothie. Throw your yolk in your smoothie. If you're going to have lightly scrambled eggs, very lightly, keep in mind the yolk's there. You don't want to see any bubbling eggs. This is not a good thing, okay? We want them simmered slowly. Put the lid on the top. If you really are wanting to do an egg white frittata for whatever reason, then just save your egg whites and put your yolks in your smoothie, and maybe avoid as much of your egg white in your smoothie, if that makes sense.
So getting back to the bacteria and is it healthy to eat raw eggs, I think it really depends on the source of the eggs and how you handle them, right?
Exactly.
Because if you wash the eggs, that really deteriorates the outside.
All of the eggs you buy in the grocery store have been washed, so they have begun their aging process, and they must be refrigerated. If you buy eggs from a market from a farmer, typically you'll see that the eggs have not been washed. The egg shell has a bloom on it, they call it a bloom, that protects the egg and the egg yolk. Think about it, guys. A chicken isn't a refrigerator. A chicken is a hot-blooded little animal that's got a body temperature, and she's sitting on those eggs. So if you can buy farmer's eggs, don't come home and feel like you have to wash them right away. Wash them as you use them, right before you use them in your clean water, and that's a good move.
Yeah, that'll keep the egg much, much better, much fresher.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
That's a good point.
So, I think eating eggs in just about any form, unless they're really overcooked, is the best idea. I saw a video of people putting, throwing them in ashes and cooking them that way.
Oh, just the heat.
Just
right.
the heat, yeah, just in like charcoal and stuff. So, there's many ways of cooking eggs, and eggs can make anything taste good, too. If you got scraps, you can make omelets out of that, and we typically do that on Saturday afternoon.
Right.
We'll throw an omelet and throw whatever we have left in the omelet.
And instead of thinking of you're having an egg omelet and you're adding vegetables, why don't you think about you're steaming a few vegetables and then you decide to throw an egg on it.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah.
I really like seeing that roughage and those greens. And we do know that when we eat our green vegetables, the most important thing is that we eat them along with a fat, because all of those wonderful minerals that are in greens are really lost to those people that don't eat it along with a natural fat food. That's why vegetables and meat source proteins that have their natural fat in them. We're looking at some research, and I'm going to have to bring this up because it kind of goes in the face of some of the stuff we've been saying, but in the biofield diet at Premier Research Labs, what we're seeing is a lot of the longest-lived people did not eat refined oils, and that actually includes some of the oils that we tout here. Coconut oil. They ate the coconut, but they weren't eating the refined oils. No. So the question is, are we pushing it on that? Maybe so, or maybe we need to take an oil holiday. Maybe we need to take a 90-day oil holiday. But either way, we got to take a break. so we'll see you when we get back. Give us a call.
And the number here is 877-927-6648. And pick up some Primal Edge and the newsletter, please.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. Our number here is 877-927-6648. So before the break, we were talking about the fat and the yolk. And we do have a caller? Mm-hmm. Oh, we got to get that. This is Tom from Orlando, and we're talking about water.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Paige. Hi, Nico.
Hi.
You might be interested to know that I've tried to adopt this idea of drinking a quart or nearly a quart of water upon arising.
Me too.
I learned that Dr. Marshall does it.
Yeah.
And my Voss water bottle is a little less than a quart. But at first it was very difficult. I'd be sipping it there sitting at my desk, and, well, not sipping, it'd be guzzling, but I'd just be so full and have to wait a while to drink some more.
Mm-hmm.
And but I would do it, and sometimes what I would do is pour half a bunch of it into a 16-ounce mug with a teaspoon of sea salt, especially if I'm going to be doing exercising or working outside all day. And I'm in Florida here, so it gets hot. But even in the winter, I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't do that, but I usually do add even like a pinch of salt because I've heard that's good, too, for other reasons. But I've discovered in the last couple months that it's getting easier and easier to do it, and now I can drink it down relatively quickly, and I don't even have to go to the bathroom for a long time because I think it's getting stored in my colon. And by the way, I do get a good bowel movement in a half hour usually.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so this drinking water after you've been dehydrated all night's really, really good.
Oh, Tom, that's a great comment. I'm glad that you called because as you heard, I was hinting a little bit about I'm really feeling very good about that because you're exactly right. We are chronically dehydrated. When we wake up, many people don't realize that. And what do? We go straight for our breakfast.
And also coffee.
Or our coffee or our teas,
yeah.
and they can be dehydrating, where in fact, this period of rehydration, of, kind of getting things going, lubed up, we also lose our thirst mechanism. We don't recognize that we're actually thirsty. And when you start doing this, your thirst mechanism returns, and you will notice it, and you'll find that everything just feels better. Your sinuses clear out. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. We're on the same page, no pun intended.
Yeah, you know how I'm doing it now, too. Of course, I'm taking the Primal Edge first thing when I wake up. Then I have my water. Then I go shave and do all the other stuff, the oil pulling. And then it's about an hour before I eat, which is perfect because then my juices and my digestive system is not full of water, so I can't digest stuff. It's returned now. Like you said, it's stored in the colon, so it works really well.
The two odd things, you said one of them, Paige, was that it's easy to wake up in the morning, not be thirsty, and though we are kind of designed dehydrated from all night, and so we ought to be thirsty, even if we're not, we tend to go ahead and eat, and it's possible to do that without feeling that you're dehydrated. The other thing was that I have noticed that it's gotten easier and easier to do, even though it was difficult at first. So people should not get discouraged when they feel so stuffed upon drinking a quarter pint of water. Just, you can stick it out, maybe take a half hour if necessary to do it, and you'll get it. And that half hour will shrink down to 5 minutes eventually.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, let's just hang with me here, Tom. But, we want to just remind people that dehydration is one of the critical health issues that we see. The Batman doctor, Dr. Bangladeshi, whatever his name is, he was the doctor that proved that many of us, our health conditions are related to dehydration. And we want to try and strive as a general marker for half our body weight in water every day. But now we want to even take it the next step. And as many of you may know, I'm kind of a water researcher, and I'm very interested in structured water, or what many people call the fourth phase of water, the liquid crystalline that is created in the water when we actually have it properly structured. And we're going to talk more about that. We're going to be bringing you guys some great ideas. But the actual salts that we use, particularly Premier's pink salt, because it's not just air-dried sea salts, it's also got volcanic mineral ash from the soil, very much like our Primal Edge. So these...
Well, I want to hang up, but I just want to say that I'm looking forward to your discussion about the oils, because I hear you and even Dr. Marshall talking about we need to transition from being sugar burners to fat burners, and now he's coming to realize that at least a lot of people need to stop all oils, even good oils. And so I was trying to add oil at everything to become a fat burner.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that more. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense, Tom, because, at 10,000 years ago, we weren't using these oils. We were using the animal products to give us our fats.
Yeah, they weren't, going to their local paleo caveman store and buying a bottle of olive oil. They were eating an olive.
Or MCT oil or any kind of oil. Yeah,
MCT oil. So we're really kind of taking another look at that. And as you know, Tom, what Dr. Marshall is finding from the energetic testing that we're doing at Premier Research Labs is that one of the reasons we see such chronic liver gallbladder issues, and you remember liver is a big part of just general digestion, is that everybody over the age of 40 has had these gallbladder issues, and you know this personally from Ellen. So what Dr. Marshall and what I'm telling my clients is, let's look at taking a 90-day oil holiday. Just, of course, we're talking about giving up a lot of things. Let's get off the grains and sugars. But now all of a sudden we're saying, hey, maybe we don't need to add as much of these coconut oils or olive oils to our salad even. Maybe we can come up with some great salad dressings that have avocado as a base, which is a good oil, a good oil, but it's actually in the fruit. We're not buying the processed avocado oil. We start actually using the oil, put a little water and lemon juice, and then we've got kind of a creamy dressing.
It's always better to get it from the food. Hey, Tom, thanks a lot for calling.
Yeah, well, just one bit of quick news, good news. My inside source at Dr. Marshall says that they are going to continue producing their high-quality coconut and EFA and other oils, so they're not going away right away.
Right, but what he's suggesting, what he's suggesting, you're going to hear me talking a lot more about this, is that, he does not agree with Dr. Peskin, You know, you've heard me talk about Dr. Brian Peskin, who says we shouldn't be taking the fully reduced forms of DHA. Dr. Marshall believes it's the complete opposite. Energetically, it's showing up that DHA we just are not getting enough of it. And a lot of these molecular distilled fish oils are toxic to the body.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thanks so much. You've got me hanging on the edge of my chair here for the rest of the day.
all right. Well, we're glad you're there, Tom, and thanks always for calling.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to point out too with
He always brings some good
with the
points.
oils is I cut back on my omega-3s also. I was noticing that when I started the Primal Edge, I cut back on my omega-3s about half of what I was doing before because the Primal Edge has some in there.
Yeah.
But I was noticing that it was actually on my towel, I was getting a little discoloration on the towel, and it was from the oil. It was that reddish tinge from the krill oil was coming through my skin. So I cut back even more, and then it's not there, and I still feel good.
Well, I want to talk to you about that
Okay.
offline. You know, as many of you all know, if you haven't talked with me for tigers and tigresses, call me and we can have a complimentary consultation on the phone, 15 minutes or so, see what we can do in terms of making sure you're getting live source nutrition that really works and that has a quality alongside with our Primal Edge.
Yep.
Just so you know, though, you said you're cutting back on your omega-3s. We don't want you to cut back on your omega-3s, but we want you to get a concentrated source. Our preferred source is DHA from algae from the Antarctic.
Yeah.
So it's the algae that the krill and everyone are eating. So it's
I'm actually getting krill oil, so it's a second hand.
So it's actually the chain before that.
The chain
and
before
it's
that,
and we're finding that it's just phenomenal in so many places for the body.
But getting
for
from
kidney.
the algae is where you need to get it from. There's no doubt.
And then, you know, having our butter and all this, but maybe we want to make sure that remember I told you when I had the lab work and I was a little surprised, you know, my sugar numbers were good, but I had some numbers that were kind of elevated. And if you Google it, it says a lot of people on the paleo primal or the bulletproof diet, their cholesterol numbers get out of whack. Well, the good numbers were still in range, but there were some particle sizes that were a little disturbing. And I believe a lot of this has to do with what Dr. Marshall's found out is, again, deficiency of the B vitamins. You know, we know the homeocysteine is the real risk for heart disease, not cholesterol. And what corrects that? B vitamins. But we also know is what interferes with our keeping our bile and keeping our cholesterol in suspension in the bile so it's removed and it doesn't get kind of high is B6. And folks, let me tell you something. We get a lot of synthetic B vitamins, B6s that don't work.
That's a real problem with
we have the active form in Primal Edge.
Yeah,
we have the
naturally.
active form in Max B with Dr. Marshall. So.
A study cast doubt on anti-aging supplements.
It's
This is
kinda
an
right up the
article.
line.
Yeah, this is really what we're talking about. In this article, they're talking really about CoQ10, which is another oil or a
fat-soluble nutritional product that just recently in a market research report, there was a suggestion that perhaps it is not an antioxidant. I'm not going to put my personal comment here because I'm not sure how I feel about that research. I was looking at the source of it.
Well, it depends on the type of CoQ10 that you're using. If it's a synthetic form,
you got it.
That's, I think, the real difference, and that's what we're finding out in a lot of these studies. We're finding out that, you know, what they're studying is not really what we're interested in.
Right, and,
you know,
and this is the thing. So. Whenever I see something like this, I also know that there's new, more fully reduced versions of CoQ10, like the PQQ, that are coming. Products are coming out. So this could be some of the reason that we're seeing this. But as this article points out, this article goes on to say, hey, we need to be careful. We shouldn't over-supplement. We should be able to get enough in our foods. Well, folks, we know that's not really the truth when it's actually analyzed.
Yeah.
We're not always, but the primal paleo diet does yield itself to more of a adequate CoQ10 because CoQ10 is the antioxidant, until proven otherwise, that is found in animal foods.
Yes.
This article cites a 2007 meta-study that spanned a tremendous amount of people that determined that antioxidant supplementation with vitamin E or vitamin A increases overall death rates. Folks, I want to remind you, this is a perfect example of why I do what I do. What has been determined about a lot of this research where they said that people that took beta-carotene or a form of vitamin A increased death, or vitamin E had increased death. Those studies were done with synthetic, coal tar derivative, artificial, chemicalized versions of those antioxidants. So just like we know if we eat Franken food, if we take Franken supplements, we may get the same result. These were used with fractionated forms of vitamin E. They were used with a synthetic form of vitamin A, which is not the vitamin A that we usually recommend, like what you get in fat-soluble or fat-dense sources like butter, you know, the vitamin A in butter or in liver or this kind of thing.
And this is one of the reasons why we always talk about if you're taking Primal Edge, you have to first start with a great diet. So you got to get your balanced nutrition from your food, and then you can supplement it. It's not a replacement at any means.
Not.
You're not going to get healthy from any kind of great supplement, no matter how great it is, and using that to boost your food because your food is crappy. It doesn't work that way.
No, it's not an or. It's an and.
Yeah,
it's an ampersand.
Yeah. So first straighten out your diet, then supplement it. And there's another article that I found, and this was by I think the paleo diet people, Cordain. And everybody's talking about ratios of how many grams of carbs are you eating.
Yeah, this is what the bodybuilders are doing.
Yeah, everybody's
Managing
doing this.
their
And
macros.
I did this for a long time. 40-30-30 was the perfect ratio. You know, the 40% carbs and 30% fat, 30% protein.
And when you actually take that 30% fat, it really corresponds to more like 60% of the calories.
Yeah.
Because fat is double the density of your carbs and your proteins.
Exactly. So the same amount means the difference. But Dr. Cordain, what he's really talking about, don't be so fixed on these numbers. You know, one meal you might have 30% carbs, the next meal you might have 60% carbs. It all balances out. But I think when we're talking about eating a balanced meal, we always talk about first the little bit of protein that we're going to eat and the good natural fats that go along with it. And then if you want to supplement any nice greens, and preferably wild, then that's a balanced meal to us.
And that's kind of what I'm teaching people to look at now. Look at your piece of protein, not as just your protein, but as your fat source, because it comes packaged with the fat your body knows what to do with. So those of us that are following the biofield diet or our modification, our primal biofield diet, you know, we're supporting our ancient body, our truly ancient body, which is our biofield. We realize that our food is actually packaged best. And we're dealing with some things. So it's not like we have to eat a piece of meat and then add a bunch of olive oil in our salad to get our fats. You follow me?
Yeah.
Let's have our salad.
Don't trim the meat so much. Have the fat that goes along with it, because that's really the good part.
Yeah, as it comes packaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and look at like I said, look at ways to have our vegetables and stuff where maybe, you know, there's a little bit of fat for seasoning. You know, maybe some of the sauces that are high in fat, we watch a little bit, you know, because we have to be careful. But let's look at the meat as a fat source too, not just a protein source.
Dr. Cordain and his team were quick to point out that plant and animal ratios vary greatly. Societies that are living closer to the equator could get much of as 55% of their calories from plant sources, while in the polar societies, such as the Inuit people,
Eskimos.
it's derived almost all from animals.
Yeah, they eat the
so
whale
it really
blubber
depends where you live. Depends what's available. You know, our ancestors never thought about I'm eating too many leaves here.
Right.
You know, or I'm eating too much meat.
They weren't counting their macros.
No, they were getting the food when they could get it, and they wouldn't overeat because they were satisfied with what they were eating.
I'm for turning on your ancestral intuition.
Turning on is a good thing anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah, turn it on. But, you know, seriously, folks, you know, we're rewilding ourselves, and that's what we're here to help you do.
Yeah.
So let's rewild ourselves, get back to real food, and...
yeah, we're going to be back in a minute, folks, and I got a special message for my wife because it's my anniversary. Yesterday, actually, was
right, yes,
20
I saw
years.
That on Facebook. Yep.
20 years.
20 years, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Yep, I like that. So
We'll be
see
right
you
back.
after the break.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated folic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. Yesterday was my 20th anniversary with my lovely wife, Ellen. I wanted to let her know that I'm always thinking about her.
Congratulations, Ellen.
Yeah, you know, it was really something special. Of course, we get ourselves cards, and we went out to dinner last night. Really nice dinner at the Black Pearl in Dunedin.
Right near my office.
Right beside your office. And Julie, the food was fabulous. And the salad, they had some salad dressing there, was the most amazing thing. But the salad was really like wild greens. Yeah. It was really, and I had duck. It was tremendous. But she wrote me a note. I didn't bring the note, but it was just when people take time to write things in their own handwriting, something really nice and personal. You know, she said we've had our ups and downs, we've laughed and we've cried, and you know, we went through the years and we had really great successes. We've had some hits and misses here, you know. That's the way life goes. But, you know, she wanted to thank me for always encouraging her, and she does the same for me. And that, in a relationship, means so much, is that you stand behind the person and saying, okay, I'm going to support you in every way I can, things that you love to do. You know, my wife comes with me to jiu-jitsu just about every Saturday. You know, she doesn't need to do that. She doesn't, you know, she likes to watch and stuff like that, but she does it because I know that when she's in there, I do a little bit better, and I like having her there, you know. So, you know, we tend to do real special things for each other, and that's what makes our relationship so great. Plus, we love being together. We just like the same things, and when we don't like the same things, there's enough space there.
Yeah, you have enough respect that you give each other this space.
Exactly.
That you come back together always.
So, and tomorrow we're having a little party over at our house. It's kind of an open house, so people are welcome to come. And it's just 20 years. I never thought I'd be married 20 years. My first marriage, I was only married 8 years. So, you know, this is kind of a nice milestone
it's
for
a
me.
nice
and
milestone.
We're looking forward to the
Something
next
to be
20.
proud of.
So
Yes,
that's been
absolutely.
nice.
And you're healthy, and you will. You will enjoy those next 20 years.
Now, I've been reading over the last week this new book called The Terror Factory. I don't know if it's new. It's by Trevor Aronson. And this is really talking about the FBI and their campaign. And what they, just to give you a nutshell version of this, is the FBI has about 1,500 informants that were perhaps Taliban-related people, or people in the know, or people who were former and now are informants. And what these informants do is they go out and try to find terrorists and encourage them to make bombs and to do it for jihad. And there's several different stories in there. One particularly struck me where these guys have been pounding this guy for about 1.5 years, and you know, the guy's kind of a simpleton, not real bright, he wants to do something, and finally he says, I don't think I really want to do it, so they started offering him money. And this is after 1.5 years of this guy really not wanting to do it, but finally they got something with the money, and they ended up paying him $250,000 to build this bomb that they got the supply for. So they got all the materials for him because he had no clue any about that. He didn't know how to build them, but they got this design off the internet, and the FBI informant and the guy built it himself. Of course, they built it so they wouldn't explode. So then they put it in a suitcase, and he goes to plant it someplace, and then they arrest him, and now he's in jail. And there are over 500 cases since 9/11 that are just along this way. And this is how the FBI, and this the person who's writing this talks about how the FBI is funded on successes. So they have to have successes of busting people, and then they get more funding to substantiate. It's kind of like our education system.
It sounds like our food system.
Our food system and our doctor system and health system.
Here's a little snippet from this thing from Goodreads.com by Trevor Aronson. For decades, the thing the FBI has done best is have an effective public relations campaign. TV shows and books feature great agents doing marvelous things. The reality is that the FBI is mostly paper and politics, and we have known this for a long time.
Yeah.
So I like it when you share stuff like that. The FBI, the CIA, I mean, we could really go down that rabbit hole sometime.
Yep.
Yeah, all of it. Hey, our show's
it's over,
guys.
Folks. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for sticking around.
Stay healthy. Talk to you soon.
Wealthy and wise.
That's right.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.